then we can understand the biological processes of aging, then we can come up with a solution for anti-aging. So, and also the pathology. What is the pathology behind this form of degeneration? Because aging is a degeneration, it's a cellular degeneration. So what's the pathology behind that? We have to look into the endocrine pathways. What is happening in the endocrine pathways? What is happening in the hormonal? What is happening in the pathways of nervous system? All these are related. Then the totality of those physiology, concept, biology, philosophy, pathology, and everything, we put them together, then we can make a diagnosis. So why this degeneration or aging happens in this person, but it doesn't happen in the others? So what? When I was a child, I remember like I had aunts, uncles, they're coming every New Year to our house, or we went to their homes every year. That's how the culture was. And every year that I went, they were shrinking. They were having so much wrinkles. They were getting smaller and smaller. So for me, it was a question from childhood. I said, what is happening to these people? Last year, they looked so fine. This year, I see them so aged. So what happened in 365 days? So that's the concept of degeneration, that degeneration can happen fast in some people, but in some people, it's a slower, and in some people, it doesn't happen, actually. So what is going on? That's our diagnosis to understand each person's process of degeneration. Then we're gonna come up with treatments. So the treatments, this course is not about anti-wrinkle or just the, surface treatments, or just the facial treatments, which I love it. I have been doing it for since 1993. But this course is not about that. This course is about anti-chronic degenerations or internal anti-aging. So that's this course is all about. If when you learn this points, all this information that I'm going to share with you, you're putting it with your own knowledge of statics, you can flourish. You can do so much better for your practice, for your business, for humanity, for everything. Something that brought me to this realization is we all are doctors under oath. As I always say, our oath always says, help but no harm. So when I personally ran a spa, and I did everything that you guys are doing. So, but when I became a homeopath, I came to realization that they are sometimes I'm beautifying people, I'm helping them to feel good, I'm helping them to, feel better. But on the other hand, I feel that I'm harming them too. So at this point, I have, and then I felt that something is not right here. People love Botox. People love filler. People love to comfort different, non-surgical facelift or something. So I'm not talking about devices. Devices are okay, but when it comes something that you be injecting into people, I felt something is not just right. So, and then according to homeopathic principles, anything that we inject to people is causing a lot of toxications. So at that moment, I realized that I have to do something. I have to do something. I personally love aesthetics. I personally love to do it, and people love it too. But there is an answer to something that that we feel that it's not right. So that's why I came up to this realization, and I came to this all this that I'm offering it to you to help your patients as well, not to feel you're violating your oath. So we have both. We have aesthetics, and we have like internal detoxification, internal anti-degeneration, and everything. Okay. This is okay. Quantum of anti-aging that came out in the year 2020. So this is I gathered all, as I said, the information that I collected it from as far as I remember. I became an esthetician, and I was a nutritionist, then esthetician, then become homeopath. And, I gathered all this information and I put it in a book as a keynote book for all estheticians to have it as a reference and to help their patients. So the simple, I wrote it very, very simple. It's not a textbook. It's not a textbook like a medical textbook, that hard medical textbook that we went through. This is a very kind of simple. I wrote it in a very simple way that everybody can understand. So it's on Amazon as well. Like a mother can learn something from it. Somebody who is not a esthetician can learn something. But as I said, I simplified a lot of medical terms that people don't have any problem with any educational background. So as I said, it's based on my medical clinical approach about holistic concept of health and healing, about cellular regenerations and renewal process, or simply anti-aging. So anti-aging or longevity, it means cellular regeneration, cellular renewal. That's called anti-aging. Now, the whole course is about that regeneration. So people, human beings, as far as the history talks about it, if you go to the, I read a lot of novels about, the 2,000 years ago, about 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago. Always and always people try to find a way to look beautiful, to look better, to feel better. They always find in nature medicine, natural medicine, a specific kind of food, different herbs, vitamins, minerals, supplements, cosmetic products, everything, because aging always been a concern. People age, but they didn't know why they aging. That's why they always try to find something that is helping them not to age. So then it's evolved to the point that 100 years back, maybe more than 100 years back, then it started, a lot of different treatments came along with the mainstream medicine. Even medications, people like, I don't know if you know, Michael Jackson, for example, went for certain medications in order to change the pigmentation, to change the color of his skin. So these harmful medications, it came along decades ago. And some people, they apply harsh topical treatments, cosmetic surgeries. What's the purpose of this? They want to gain youthfulness. They want to look younger. But we know that you can never look younger this way. It's just topical. Topical, it's the mirror of your inside. So I always say, wrinkling outside, shrinking inside. There is no way you can remove wrinkles. You may give it a little bit hydration. You may give it a little, a suppleness a little bit. You may stimulate the collagen productions with some devices, with some mechanically, but goes back again. Because the whole outside is the mirror of inside. It's the same as symptoms. We all are doctors. We know that the symptoms is not a disease. Symptoms is the manifestation of disease. Disease is within, but symptoms comes out, such as eczema, such as migraine, such as diarrhea, such as vomiting, such as this. There are one disharmony, one disease, but 1,000 different of symptoms coming out. The same thing as wrinkle. The wrinkle is the manifestation of some breakdown of connective tissues from within. So by doing this on the topical, you give it a refreshment, you give it a health, temporary, and goes back to the cycle. The cycle of the skin is how many days? It's 21 days to 28 days, right? Goes back again. So that's why we used to tell people, listen, you have to come once a month for clinical treatments. I personally didn't know what's the reason of once a month. Then I realized, okay, it's the skin cycle. They go back again. So generally, this is how the thing is. You know, beauty, health, feeling good, feeling great, or is an internal domain which manifests itself outside. So therefore, we should always look into the aging phenomena internally. So when we understand this, then what we do externally, it makes 100% better. 100% better. If that person comes, you know, for one skin treatment, it's equal to 10 skin treatments when we take care of internal. So degeneration or skin or aging has always been one of the main concerns for human beings throughout the human history. There is no decade that I say, okay, people say, we're not going to take care of this. We don't think about the statics. We don't, it doesn't, it's always been. It's always been. Personally, I invested my life on long-term education, as I mentioned earlier, so I always studied. But longevity, anti-aging, so with my prominent, you know, interest, and always been a question to me, what is happening that people, all of a sudden, you know, in a year or sometimes less than a year, you see that people age. So being a medical esthetician, in top of being a homeopath, top of being an integrative medicine practitioner, top of being nutrition, helped me so much to understand and get these answers. So that's why I gather all this information to a long-term education, researching, teaching, practicing, and everything. And I brought it into this gathered information and to give it to you for acknowledgement. So I want to disclaim something here, because this talk, this course, last year, 2 years ago, it's always been interest of so many medical doctors. So I had a course at the some of osteopaths and medical doctors in the United States almost 2 years ago. So one of the questions that one of the doctor came and it was very curious about this, that Dr. Zarin, with this view and perspective that you have, you want to tell us that we are immortal, means we don't die? Do you think with this course, you think that we don't get sick? Or we don't get any structural changes? I said, absolutely not. The moment we are born, there is a moment we die. This is how nature designed. I never say we are immortal, but I say between the birth to death, we can take care of degeneration. That's what I say. So that's my disclaimer here. So I never say that. That's sometimes, you know, the other doctors, they may perceive that I say, okay, we don't die, maybe we can live. Yeah, in the history, if you go, some books I read, that people could live to 400 years. People could live way much longer than now. But I don't claim that with this course, we're going to be immortal. No, from the moment of birth until the moment of death, we're going to take care of this duration. My course is said, let's take care of this, from natural birth to natural death. So chronic degeneration is chronic degeneration definitely is the cause of early death. There are many early deaths happening on this planet Earth. A lot of artificial death is happening because of early chronic degeneration. But it can be stopped beautifully with the system that I created and so many others also created. But my view might be different than the others. But degeneration can be stopped at any age, at any time. So Again, I disclaim that sickness is something that we all experience. People, human body, that's how designed. It goes through a degeneration, then goes back to regeneration. But the problem is that it does not pass degeneration. It stays in degeneration, does not go to regeneration. That's the problem. I didn't say we don't get sick. I don't say that. We get sick, we get flu, we get this, we get some. I personally don't believe that chronic diseases should be there. Chronic diseases should not be in human beings because untimely manner it should be removed. But the other acute conditions, everybody gets it. The body goes through degeneration, but has to be very quick and short duration and goes back to regeneration. The problem with all this early death and artificial death and long-term degeneration is that the body does not switch from degeneration to go to regeneration. That's the problem. That's my claim. But I don't claim that we don't get sick. We always get sick, one way or another, but we go to renewal cycle. We regenerate, we recover, we heal, and then degeneration might happen again, but again follows by regeneration. But if we're stuck and we don't move to regeneration, that's how aging happens. So aging is the same process of chronic disease, the same biological process of chronic disease. So I have this talk in so many scientific platforms around the world, and no one could challenge me. Because what I say is everything is based on science, everything is based on data, and everything is based on human, information. So I disclaim also that if there is a 70 years old man with a 20 years old man, I'm not saying that 70 years old has to have the same body as the 20 years old. The body is adapting itself every decade with, changing the growing older. I'm not claiming that it has to be that. But if it stays, bingo. But I don't claim that. But I am claiming that if we go through the right biological process of regeneration and renewal, and healing and recovery on time, we're not supposed to bend down like the older people that were bending down. Have you ever seen that? A man, I have seen it, I have seen so many during my life, that when I saw them when they were 35 years old, they were tall, robust, handsome, and then I saw them when they were 75, they were half the size, they were bending down, and they were so small. So it's the same person. I claim with this that we are not supposed to be like it. We might shrink a little bit, we might have a little bit of different structure, but not that much degenerated. So that's my claim. So there are probably adjusting changes as we grow older, based on the changes on our hormonal productions, enzymatic actions, biological process through the span of life, because every decade these processes are changing as well. So according to that, our body is adapting. But those processes should be intact. Those processes should not be stopped, should be always intact, and according to the nature, goes on and on. So I claim regeneration and longevity takes place in every single human being without exception at all times. If somebody comes to me 75 years old and I say, I want to get younger, can you do it? I say yes. But I don't claim that I can make you younger to go back to 30 years old. No, I can make you younger, I can give you tools to do it, to make yourself younger, to make yourself regenerated, that you can be younger than 75 years old, but not necessarily to go back to 30 or 40. So you can regenerate definitely at any age. Sharing all the knowledge and information that I have gathered from my study with you, it's about to understand how the human body operates at different levels of physical, mental, emotional, and non-physical. The problem with the mainstream is they think that we are only this body. They do not consider the soul, the spirit, the non-physical aspect of us. Human body without non-physical aspect is a dead body. So as a homeopath, when I want to treat somebody, I have to look into physical, to mental, to emotional, and non-physical. So these are all should come into alignment, into harmony, into balance. So why we pray, why we do prayer, we want harmony between all these bodies, with our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. So this is something that in this course, in this gathered information, we don't miss, because spirit is the one that is running the show. The body is run, the body is a vehicle of your life, your being, but the being, which is your spirit, is not considered in so many different modalities. Not in my modality. I mean, in my modality, all the dimensions have to come into alignment. How the human body functions beyond the physical level, and how you can simply renew, regenerate, rejuvenate your body to restore your health at all times. The reason that I'm saying this, there are times that the person gets so anxiety, so much anxiety, so much, they say we are depressed, we are anxious, as soon as I say, just calm down, just do a little bit of prayer, and how you feel. What does that? Does bring you into alignment a little bit. Just then you can consciously, logically deal with the problem. So these are something we shouldn't miss. These are something we shouldn't miss in our medicine, our medical. So, and no matter the modalities we practice, we always have to have consider all the dimensions of the person. As a homeopath, if we miss one dimension, we cannot cure the person. We have to put it all together. So aging is a chronic degeneration, as I mentioned earlier. So what's the definition of aging? What's the process of aging? In contrary to some medical doctors, because I have presentation with so many medical doctors around the world, and they love my teaching. They like to know my perspectives. They like to, and the good thing is that they all taking the information and using them in their practice, which is great. But there are some that's how the school is. The school of training is different. Different school of training. They're different. Mine is different. So but we have to come into a middle ground, like somewhere that we can meet up, right? So they're telling me that human being has a aging genes. Human being has aging genes. I said absolutely not. Human being has anti-aging genes, and I explain it to you later on. In this course, I would explain to you that they are wrong. We don't have aging gene. We have anti-aging gene. Otherwise, we couldn't survive. We couldn't regenerate. We cannot recover. We can't heal. So that aging gene is because of generation after generation after generation of aging, it became dominant. Not necessarily we are born with aging gene. So now, if there is an aging gene, we want to make it dormant. We want to activate the anti-aging gene. So where is the anti-aging? It's coming. So aging is a chronic degeneration, but due to lack of knowledge honestly, lack of knowledge on philosophy, on concept about the process of aging, it's wrongly accepted and approved by people as a natural process of life. So if somebody comes to me and I say, oh, aging is natural, I say absolutely not. Because nature doesn't have the concept of aging. How come a winter in Canada, you come up to knees, there is a snow, and the whole ground is on ice for months, right? And all of a sudden, March 21st, March 22nd, everything becomes green. So who does it? Who does this? Nature is programmed. These are God-given life. So if the land becomes regenerated that quickly, how come human body cannot? We are absolute part of nature without exception. Nature is not biased. The source, the God who created the life is not biased to anybody or any phenomena that gives the nature of regeneration, renewal to the plants. On the winter, they lose, in the fall, they lose all the leaves and everything, and during winter, they go to dormancy, and in the spring, all of a sudden, everything becomes flourished again, becomes green again, and then in summer, the fruits come. So are we not this a living being? How come? They can do it, the land can do it, but human being cannot? Absolutely. Human beings as a part of nature, absolute part of nature, follows the same laws, principles, and is endowed with the power and ability to renew itself and go through the anti-aging process. So the problem is that people been brainwashed that aging is a normal process. And that's why they don't look for things. They all come for the statics. They think that only the statics can help them. So when the patient comes to do a statics with me, I explain to them all this. I said, don't be fooled that I can make you 20 years younger here. No, this is something that can make you 20 years younger or 10 years younger. You have to understand what's happening within you. So people don't seek a solution to prevent it. And they come to ask me, can you prevent it? I said, I can give you tools, and your body is going to prevent it. And I give you tools, the body can reverse it itself. So you got to bring the body into alignment, to balance, to harmony, to everything, and give all the raw materials and everything that the body needs. Then regeneration is endowed in you. You have the gene of regeneration. So we do have the gene of renewal. So as I mentioned earlier, aging is exactly the biological process of chronic disease. Everything that happens in the body, biologically, right? Biologically happen in chronic disease that people become degenerated. That happens in aging. Some is slow, some is fast. So when we understand the human body's dimension as one unit that follows all the natural laws and principles, which applies to all living beings without exception, then we understand what is anti-aging. So now the question, is aging exist in nature? As I said, aging does not exist in nature, because nature always goes through the renewal and regeneration cycles. As I explained to you, winter to spring. Have you ever seen a spring goes back to winter? No, it's the process of life. The same thing with humans. So aging, again, is not a natural phenomenon. Aging is accepted by people, approved by people as a natural phenomenon, but is not a natural phenomenon in the nature, because it constantly renews itself the way Earth is renewing itself by turning winter into spring. This natural characteristic is endowed in all of us. everybody, the whole universe, and the human body, absolute part of this nature and follows the same laws and principles. So we don't have premature aging in ourselves. Premature aging happens because of negligence, because of cellular deficiency, because of long-term toxications, because of chronic degenerations. That's the reason that happens in us. Because human body is designed to go through the cycle of weakening when we get sick, dormancy, a little bit of degeneration, again comes back to awakening, regeneration, and renewal. This is how the body is. Sometimes we don't go through the weakening, dormancy, and degeneration. We constantly regenerate. But if there are times that we get sick or we go through some traumas, we go through some difficulties and everything, that happens. This is a normal thing that happens. But again, follows the laws. This is the laws, this is the principles. And the law is absolute. So these characteristics are endowed in all living beings, including the human body by nature. We always, now it's dark, here is night. So in Indonesia is light. So, and tomorrow morning it becomes light. There is something that the nature doesn't go wrong. It's just, that's how designed. This is as I said, this is a principle. So the same thing with our degeneration and regeneration. So, as I said earlier, with your medical, you're under oath. You don't want to harm anybody. You want to help them. You want to beautify everybody. You want to help them with cosmetics. You want to help them with cosmetic products, everything. But we don't want to violate our oath. The reason that I'm here, that I would like to share this with you is because I came to realization that when I was doing all this, I'm still doing, but I mean, the time that I realized that I have to do something, it was the time that I realized that I am helping them to feel good on the surface, but within I'm harming them. So what can I do? So I came up with a solution for that. And I'm going to share my solution with you that if resonates with you, you can use it in your practice and help your patients and also honor your medical oath. So we all have to know about, human being, the principles and nature and everything, not only medicine. It's not, medical doctor is not only medicine. Medical doctor, first of all, doctor is a Latin term, is a Latin name. It means educator. Doctor does not mean prescriber. Doctor means educator. We are educators. So that's why they gave us the name of doctor, means educate people. That what is best for them. Don't harm them, help them. So life, the world is evolving for sure into so many artificial things. So there are things that sometimes we cannot avoid, right? People, as I said, people want Botox. They love Botox. They want to, ease off the wrinkles or whatever. They want to go for a wedding or something. I cannot tell them. I'm not in a position to tell them, don't do it. It's going to harm you. This and that. No, they love it. That's okay. And I love to help them. But again, I love not to harm them either. So aging, as I always say, is similar to process of chronic degeneration and needs proper health strategies in order to prevent, stop, heal, and reverse. So you're asking me, can we prevent it? I say yes. You ask me, can we stop it? I say yes. And you ask me the same question, can we reverse it? I say yes. But to what degree? I don't know. Because it all goes back to the level of degeneration of the person. But all this process can be reversed gradually. But again, it depends on how degenerated the person is. So it's perfectly fine that people want to be beautiful aesthetically, but it's not fine for us to just rely on that. It's not, again, we are not just medical esthetician, we are physician. And medical esthetician does not have both. We are. So that's, you have both. You have to be very careful when we carrying our duty to people. That's why whoever comes to me for the past, I can say 20 years, wants to do Botox or whatever, I say, you have to listen to me first, then I put you under the Botox procedures. You gotta come to me 1 week earlier. I'm gonna put you on a detoxification, protocol, and you do the Botox, and you're gonna continue the detoxification protocol for another 3 weeks. Altogether, a cycle of your skin, 28 days, then I can do it. So before realization and acknowledgement of this, I did it like that. So then I realized, no, I want to help, no harm, and both help. Just help them aesthetically, help them internally. So detoxifications after the procedure of any dermal injections is the must in my clinic. So when you learn this process, you will love it. You know how and then people love it too. They feel much better. Even the toxins that is gathered from years ago, decades ago, it's coming out. They feel so refreshed. They feel so light. They feel so healthy. And on the others, on outside, they already have Botox that they, make them feel better. But generally, the better feeling comes from within, and it's gonna like magnify it. So the rejuvenation itself, with the in invasive methods of just all this harsh skincare and frequent dermal injection, which I'm not a big fan of it. I am, as I said, I am doing it, but I mean not frequently. So these can be sometimes risky, and we have to choose who is a good candidate for this, and some people that are not candidates. Honestly, in my clinic, I say I'm not going to do it. So I would like to talk a little bit about philosophy, so because I want you to know me a little bit better, and the way my perspective as well towards life, towards teaching, towards everything. So universal laws are absolute, and they're amazing to learn. All my teaching, I teach philosophy as well beside medicine. So, because if we don't know philosophy, medicine goes wrong. Medicine goes to waste. So I love the universal laws. There are 7 that I have them in my book. The last chapter I have them. The 4th law, the duality, it's amazing. So how did universe knew about this? So that everything is dual. So such as anti-aging, aging. Everything in life, in this existence, is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its repairs opposite. But opposites are identical in nature. They're just different in degrees. I mentioned earlier. It means that there are 2 sides to everything. Things that appear as opposites are in fact only 2 extremes of one same thing. You want to treat anti-aging, you want to do anti-aging, you have to understand aging. These are 2 extreme opposites. They are the same phenomenon, different degrees. One is degeneration, one is regeneration. Both are biological processes. Both are going through biological processes. But one is degenerating the body, one is regenerating the body. Goes back to the 4th universal law, which we understand this. That's why when I teach I always talk about philosophy that everybody, get the sense of concept of healing. For example, water and ice, cold and hot. So we go to the same, I go to the same house now, is minus 15, right? 2 days before, it was above 9. So everything is dual. Love and hate, peace and war, energy and matter, light and darkness, good and evil, positive and negative. So is aging and anti-aging. One pole is degenerating, one pole is regenerating. I have this in my book, Quantum Anti-Aging, page 7. So this is something that I have it framed in my clinic. I love this law. So quantum anti-aging means regeneration and longevity at the subtle level, at the cellular level, at the deeper level. So I use this term, quantum anti-aging, synonymously to regeneration and longevity in my presentations because it was more used in the medical field and is resonates with public are familiar with it. But I personally use regeneration and longevity and renewal for biological process. As I mentioned earlier, this course is not about how we can remove wrinkles, but how we can remove degenerations internally. So again, I'm repeating this. Aging is not a natural phenomenon because nature constantly renews itself, the way Earth is renewing itself, turning winter into a spring. And this natural characteristic is endowed in all living beings, including plants, animals, human beings. And human beings is not an exception and goes through all this process. The human body is constantly going through the cycle, as I mentioned, the weakening and regeneration. And you can read the chapter 1. I have quotes there, so it talks about it. So it's another slide that you see. For example, Canada, just few days prior, the first picture is few days prior to the second picture. All of a sudden, things coming out, and it's like sometimes we think that we are imagining or miracles happen. No, it's nature. Nature has principles, so that's how it is. So this applies to us too. So I think I already talked about this. So why aging? What was the reason? I know that we talk about chronic degeneration. The problem is that I mentioned earlier, fortunately, it's accepted. Even when I go to any scientific platform, I talk, doctors accepting it. They say, oh, aging is part of us, part of our lives. Aging, we have genes. I say, absolutely not. I can challenge you that, no, it's not right. So we can stop it. So aging or getting old has become a common term to use for growing old. So my narrative is different. There is getting old, there is growing old. Getting old means degenerating. But growing old means becoming wiser, becoming more intelligent, becoming more experienced, becoming more boundless. So I use growing old instead of getting old. So unfortunately, chronic degeneration is because of a lot of ignorance and negligence to lack of understanding of all these processes. And it's been decades and decades accepted by people. So I think I already talked about this. Aging is, as I said, is accepted as a natural phenomenon, which is not, because in the nature, the aging process is going against the laws of nature and life principle, as I mentioned, winter and spring. So that's why I absolutely can, with conviction, I can say aging is not supposed to happen. Growing old, yes. Growing old, yes. Getting old, no. These are two different concepts. So aging is the process of constant weakening, constant degenerations, and quick aging, and eventually early or artificial death, which means the physical body is degenerating, mental body is giving up on life challenges, losing intellect. So what's happening to that around the world? I hear Alzheimer's, dementia, Alzheimer's, this. These are what's happening here? These are all degeneration. So degeneration can go to mental, can go to emotional, can go to physical. So losing intellect, slowing down faculty, losing cognition. These are all happening around the world. Slowing down on all dimensions, having sedentary lifestyle, and eventually stop exploring the natural journey of life. So human has anti-aging gene, in contrary to the mainstream belief that human has aging gene. Because we have anti-aging organ, I'm going to talk about it. We have anti-aging hormone, I'm going to talk about it. We have anti-aging hormones. We have anti-aging proteins, I'm going to talk about it. So we have everything. We are a manufacturer of anti-aging phenomena. But where are they? You're going to find out. So, as I said, getting old and growing old. I am not with the term getting old, but we're growing old. I'm 60 years old. But I feel much better. Honestly, I feel much better. I'm more energetic. I'm wiser than when I was 30 years old. So I definitely say getting old does not apply to me, but growing old, yes. My number is going up, which is a chronological number, but my biological number is not getting older. Why? Because I know what to do. So, growing old does not mean aging or degenerating. It means you're growing into this life to become a full-fledged human being, to become more intelligent, to become much wiser, to become a creator of your own life on this earth, and also mastering life. Because life is just not happening like that. Life, you have to make it happen by understanding everything through your culture, religion, and knowledge you gather, everything. So growing older is a healthy process of life, is a natural phenomenon, which happens according to the natural laws and principles, which absolutely opposite of getting old. Because nature, as I say, constantly renews itself. So I renew myself from yesterday. Instead of degenerating, I'm regenerating. But my number is going up. I am one day older than yesterday. But not necessarily that I got older. I grew older, but I regenerate. I regenerate from yesterday to today. So growing old means prolonging your life by having optimum biological function. I have a test in my clinic. I have a quantum test. It's like a scan. It's just 1 minute. And I test myself every 4 months, 3-4 months. And I see my patients that they come to me for years. every 4 months or 6 months or 1 year that they test them, they are better, and they are better. They are better. The number that goes up. 10 years ago, they were 10 years younger on the paper, but when I test them, they're 10 years younger. The hepatic system, the renal system, respiratory system, nervous system, everything shows much better and better and better. So that's called growing old. It means life goes on. You get older, but not supposed to degenerate. So growing older is a requirement to master your life as a full-fledged human being. So be proud of yourself that you're older, 1 year older, okay? But you are 1 year more wiser. So that's the concept of growing old. As I mentioned, chronological age, that's the time we are born. Who knows that day was correct, that year was correct, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, I don't know. There's, that doesn't, is not important to me, but this is something that we use it as documents, for our documents. Say, what's your birthday? That's my passport. But that passport does not show my biological age. That document does not show anybody's biological age. The passport could be 30 years old, but biologically the person can be 55 years old. Or it can show 65 years, but biologically it could be 40 years or 35 years. So chronological age is the length of the time that the person exists on this planet Earth from birth to death, and is measured by numbers of days, months, and years that we are alive. But it has no use for your, the only use has is for identity. Like, without passport, you cannot fly to anywhere. So they have to see your birthday. It's good for social affairs, it's good for documents, legal purposes, and everything. But naturally, this number of age is not supposed to determine the state of your health or the cellular aging of the human body. I have patients coming to me that, as I said, they are 30 years old. When I test them, the test biologically shows they are 65. I have people that come to me that they have been under my care for years. They're 70 years old. Their biological shows 35. So these are something that is true. When we come to biological age, it refers to the body's biological functions, how the person functions, how the person looks, feels, how the person lives. There is no such a number how you look. For example, you say, I am 50 years old, right? But my skin, like the percentage, or you cannot give the number to the skin, to the outside. You cannot give the number how much you feel, how you feel. See, for example, you love your mother or you love your child. You cannot give a number to it. There are things that you cannot give a number. So how you feel, how you look, you can't give a number to it. There is no such number for how you look and how you live and how you feel. Biological age also refers to a physiological age, that we should take many lifestyle factors into consideration, including nutrition, hygiene, level of activities, balanced emotions, healthy mental state, thought process, sleeping habits, and so many other environmental factors. You can give a number to this characteristic. You cannot. This age is calculated based on person's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual conditions. So biological age is the person's true age by nature. Use this age for healthy growing old. So if my passport shows 55 years old, and my biological age says I'm 35 years old, so I take the number 35 as a biological age. So degeneration and regeneration, aging and anti-aging are two sides of one coin, or two opposite poles of one phenomena, which I already explained to you. In order to understand anti-aging, regeneration, renewal, we have to understand the opposite pole. So what is the degeneration? So we should closely investigate the nature of the human body to understand how to sustain the body's balance, harmony, alignment at any age of life, no matter the number of age. So I personally, my definition of regeneration and longevity is no to the chronic degeneration. We always go through an acute period of degeneration during the catabolic metabolism. We know, you all are doctors, that we go through different metabolism. So there is one anabolic, which is a building up molecules, building up bigger molecules, such as bigger proteins from amino acids. And there is another metabolism, catabolic metabolism, that breaks down the larger molecules to smaller molecules. So if we stay on breakdown metabolism, which is catabolic metabolism, aging definitely is going to take place. But if we stay at anabolic metabolism, regeneration and anti-aging takes place. So we did say no to premature aging or getting old, we early death, and we definitely say yes to regeneration of health, which is a harmonious state of mind, body, emotions, and fundamental energy of life. So now we're getting to quantum anti-aging. What is quantum anti-aging? Quantum anti-aging means to awaken, activate, and support your body's healing ability to go through the natural cycle of renewal, regeneration, and longevity. So that's the meaning of quantum anti-aging. We should support it, awaken it, activate it, support it. So, but how? So I have protocols to give you at the end of the course, that how we can awaken, how we can activate, and how we can support this process in order to bring back the regeneration and longevity. So quantum anti-aging is a series of health strategies to prolong your quality of life from within, to sustain internal homeostasis, harmony, alignment, and balance state in order to renew efficiently as you programmed naturally at all times. So I'm going to talk about these slides. I'm going to give you some break, and after this, I think Indonesia, all around the world, you celebrate your birthday, right? So every 12 months we say happy birthday. We celebrate our children's birthday. The reason is, in 365 days, almost all cells in the body are regenerated. So that's called the annual body renewal. Every system has its own renewal cycles. Like a skin has its own renewal cycles. The digestive system has its own renewal cycles. Liver, kidneys, everything in the body has their own cycle, their own duration. But generally, in 365 days, almost the whole body is supposed to be regenerated. That's why we celebrate. We say, happy birthday. But the question is, if the body constantly renews itself, regeneration happens all the time, and as it collectively happens every 12 months, but why some people prematurely aging? Some people aging slowly, but some people age faster, some people don't age at all. That's a question. So that was my question from childhood. Nobody could answer me. And even in adulthood, nobody could answer me. I couldn't find the answer until I did a lot of research on that. And then I said, okay, now I have the answer. Why We see different people have different process of degeneration. So, any questions so far? We can go on a break for five minutes. Are you okay, or you want me to continue?
Okay, please. Yes.
Dr. Otami, you want me to continue, or you want to go on a break?
Siapa teman-teman mau langsung atau ada pertanyaan silahkan. Nanti saya translate coba atau Intan. Masih ada pertanyaan?
Aja dok, nggak apa-apa dok.
Oh lanjut. We can continue, dokter. But some question for me, from me, dokter. About the anabolic and catabolic, if we want to go for anti-aging, it should be balanced or can be anabolic priority.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
In order to have an anti-aging gene activation, should we balance between